Hi, I'm Rachel Watkins with the Catholic Homeschool Virtual Conference, and I would like to welcome Tammy Parker, Executive Director of Good Counsel Careers, to our Catholic Homeschool neighborhood. Welcome, Tammy. How are you doing today?
I am well, Rachel. Thank you for having me be here. It's a pleasure to chat.
It is. And I'm really excited because you are a relatively new company.
Yes.
But are providing something that I know longtime homeschoolers like myself have wished were there a long, long time ago. Tell us about Good Counsel Careers, please.
Well, Good Counsel Careers, the heart of it is to help young people answer the question, what's next? Kind of juniors and seniors, maybe in high school, but even maybe some that have already graduated from high school and they're like, what's next? And we ran into that. I homeschooled my children. I also coached Science Olympiad. I taught a course similar to this for Homeschool Connections, because Walter and Maureen are two of its founders, and along with Jason Negre. And they all had a heart for students that are, and the families that are facing this what's next, that big question of what's next. And that's the heart of Good Counsel Careers. So what we've created is an online website, and we offer subscriptions. And the student, basically, we have a path that they can go through. It's 15 units, along with all these other resources to help them answer that question by seeking what God wants for them. So there's time for prayer and journaling, and there's videos, and just kind of defining things like career versus vocation. What valuable experiences do I need? There's colleges, there's trade schools, there's all sorts of opportunities out there. There's charisms and talents. What does all this mean? While they're doing that along this path of these 15 units, they also are doing self-assessments. And besides just giving them the self-assessments, we show them, how do you use this self-assessment? What do you do when you're done with the self-assessment? Like, how do I use this information? How do I compare the different things? And so we're coming alongside them with these online tools. And then we have a community where people can ask each other questions. We have allied service providers. So like if you need help with your SAT, or you need an accountability mentor, we're like, okay, this is the service that you want, right? We're kind of pointing the way. That's not part of our service, but we wanted to be able to say, this is a good person for this. But we have also our career role models. And that's also, we encourage every unit for them to look at these career role models. We've been interviewing just beautiful Catholic people and what their careers like really what it is to be an HVAC or an accountant or a doctor or a physical therapist. I mean, we've got careers across the spectrum, and we're building that inventory. So what's fun is that the student can say, oh, well, I'm curious about this career, and they can watch a career interview. And then we have links to that, like information about the career. Mm-hmm. So we're a hub of information. And I agree with you that, with my own, I help them, with what I could do there. But it's nice. It helps parents to say, here's a resource I can trust, that's Catholic, and I can have my kids follow this and follow what God wants for them. And that's our biggest thing.
I'm so excited for this. As I said in the beginning, I'm a longtime homeschooler. I'm down to my last of my 11 kids next year. I wish I had this. There's often a few criticisms of Catholic homeschooling in general, that are always inaccurate. We do have very socialized children. Our children do a lot of exciting things outside of school. But one that is lacking is that traditional guidance counselor office. We never had that. That was a task my husband took under his wing, as I was the homeschooler, and he took that role on very seriously, of helping our kids find colleges. But it's hard to do. And I know I'm grateful that you guys are out there. And I was especially excited to hear that you are not just pushing kids to college, but right. You mentioned trade schools as well, and helping those kids for whom college wasn't a good fit find their path with God's vision in mind. Do you connect kids to specific colleges and trade schools? Do you have that list?
We do have lists, and we're more of an introduction, and the self-assessments help them figure out, in the sense of from themselves. And we encourage conversations with family members, community members, our community, to talk about these ideas that come forth from these self-assessments and the investigations that we call them to do. And then we have lists of good Catholic colleges, the trade schools that are out there, or even opportunities, that are out there. If we hear of a good opportunity or we hear about a good scholarship opportunity, it's connecting that information for them as well. And that role of the guidance counselor, homeschoolers don't have that. They have their parents or someone in their community or something like that. So it broadens this opportunity to learn more of what is out there. And so it fills the role of a guidance counselor. And if someone wants more, they could, and we have allied service providers that can also do individual kind of mentoring, but it does offer the services to kind of fill in that gap and broaden what a parent can offer for the student to be able to do this, looking at, and it's not just focused on college. We just had a vocations panel, beautiful panel of individuals of, what's a vocation and why should I consider it, and how is it different from a career, and how does my career fit in that? And it was just beautiful. And those were that whole panel thing was recorded. And so if someone wanted to watch it, they could kind of see what they had to say about that, because they might not know their vocation yet. I mean, when I was in high school, I didn't know if I was going to be married or God was calling me someplace.
Yeah.
And we don't, and it's that God's calling us, but we can move forward. And that's the thing, is to be not afraid. That was the name of the vocation panel thing, was, it was a vocation panel, but be not afraid, because God knows, it's us kind of stumbling along, finding that, but giving them the resources to do that, whether it's giving information about trade schools, about colleges, even if someone's like, maybe I don't want to do either, like, should I go in the workforce? Should I do a gap year? Should I volunteer? Or even when they're in school, like, okay, there's these SAT, ACTs, like, how do I even prepare if I even think I might want to go to college? All that information to be able to help them move forward well. And that's our goal.
I like that. I like the be not afraid, because too oftentimes, as our kids and ourselves are facing the future, we can become afraid because we are not sure what to do. But also a dimension that comes with it is, whatever your vocation is, if you're doing God's will, He'll make you happy. He wants you to be happy doing that. And then at the end there, you mentioned something about the navigation that parents go through with the tests that they have to take or don't have to take, what scholarships are available, and monies. So you really are a clearinghouse for parents to come to get some information for the next step, aren't you?
Yes, we are. And our resources are geared for the student, but it works for the whole family, because the parents can be assured and they can have that same login and log in. So the resources are there. And then we're building, as we hear about things, we're building our databases, we're building offerings, we're doing monthly free webinars of different topics. I mean, we had one about, why should you choose a faithful Catholic college? We had one about SAT prep for math. We had one about organizing your schedule. We have some coming up about, what does it really mean to succeed in college or life beyond high school? All of these different things. And so the free webinars are available for people to learn more. And then of course we have the recordings, and then we have our beautiful career role models. So to really get a sense of what it is to live out this career, how someone ended up in that career, like, what does it look like on a day-to-day basis in that career? And that gives that real person view of that. And we encourage also in that path, that 15 units, to if you come across a career, say you're doing a self-assessment and you hear about art therapy, and I had to do that one time. They loved art and they loved helping people. And when they did a self-assessment, art therapy came up and they're like, they'd never heard of it. And I'm like, well, let's talk to people about it. Talk to people in your community. How they can connect themselves with someone who's done that, and to learn more and to dig deeper. It might not be in the end what God wants them to do, but that God uses those moments to introduce us to things. And that's exciting as well.
So you mentioned it's a 15 segment, almost a curriculum. Like, a parent could do this as a coursework for a junior or a senior in their school year, couldn't they?
They could. A parent could use this. We actually have schools, Catholic schools. We had two this spring that used it within their classroom, and they used it. It was a pass-fail kind of thing. The main goal was for them to go through the units, and but they did Socratic discussions about the different topics that we had. So definitely a parent could give their student credit for going through the units for sure. So they kind of double dip. They're getting good information. They're praying, they're journaling, they're self-discovering what God wants, and they can use it as a curriculum because it definitely can service that way. Schools are using it in that way. Catholic schools.
Exactly. I know in Maryland, we always have those extra credits, and they do it. They call it career counseling. They call it, civic work and things like that. But you also mentioned you have free things as well. Where would parents find access to those?
On our website, there's a start for free section where you can actually do the first 2 units of the career exploration for free. You can look at one of the self-assessments, kind of the intro unit. You got a career role model for free. And then we have monthly free webinars that anyone can attend, and the recordings are available for that. The rest of it is part of the subscription, but the subscription right now, we brought the price very affordable as an introductory price. It's $9 a month, and it's very affordable, and you pay monthly for as long as the student needs it. And it really, obviously, if you're doing 15 units, you're going to need it for at least 3-4 months, something like that. But it's affordable, $9 a month isn't much for a subscription, and to have these resources for that student to be able to build and just, kind of build their confidence and look at themselves and ask God, okay, what is going on here? And that's the important thing.
I am so encouraged by this, because too often our kids are either put upon by the world that we must do money more than anything else. I want to be famous. The number of children, I want to be a YouTube influencer. Well, perhaps that's someone's vocation from God, but perhaps not. The majority of us won't do that. The majority of our children will not play professional football. But you can help the child discover what brings them joy and how God can put that at service. Tell us about your website. Where do we find you?
It's goodcounselcareers.com. And it's the name of our company is the name of the website. That's easy. So it's pretty easy there. And there's different things you can click on to find the free, trial stuff and that kind of thing, where the webinars are. There's buttons for that. But yeah, goodcounselcareers.com is the website. And you can see all what we offer and then make decisions from there.
It's really nice, especially that you offer everyone a taste of what you're doing through your free opportunities, so that the kids can maybe go through it themselves and say, yeah, and now I want to continue. I really appreciate your time, Tammy. It's a joy to be with you. Before we leave and say goodbye, a few words of encouragement. Homeschooling is challenging, even in these years where we have access to the internet and sometimes almost too much information. But I think you and I might have begun at the beginning when the internet wasn't even a thing and we were relying on the library and other things. Could you send off our listeners with a word of encouragement about their vocation as homeschooling parents?
Oh yeah, you can do this. That be not afraid for your kids. We need to not be afraid. And it's easier said than done. So whenever I got that anxiety, I just literally looked at the cross and said, it's yours. I set it at the feet of Jesus and said, they were your kids before they were mine. You know what's best for them, but God will equip you. And just keep moving forward. We have to move forward, but just ask the Lord and ask obviously our beautiful Mother Mary, ask her to pray for your school, but, also another saint, like Saint Monica was my go-to, so there's, Father Joseph, have a saint that is your go-to, but you can do this because God will equip you. You just hand it to him and say, I need you. And sometimes we just, without any words, sometimes just did this.
Yes. those really throwing our hands up in the air, but we're throwing our hands up to God.
We're throwing our hands up to God because, and then keep your communication lines open with your kiddos. I made an agreement with my kiddos very young. They could always give me a please consider. I knew they wouldn't always agree with me. I was their parent and that was clear, but I wanted that communication line to stay open. And so they were always allowed a please consider of, they had to follow something with yes. an excuse. It wasn't just because they wanted to nag me. And I vowed to listen to them. And the beauty of that communication, although never perfect, was also there. And God helped with that because, again, they were his kids before they were mine. So just hand it to him, but be not afraid.
You are saying things, you are repeating things from my own family. In my house, we were called Holy Family Academy. So when the strangers in the stores would say, why aren't you in school today? My kids said, we went to Holy Family Academy. And no one could argue with that because that might be somewhere. And and our plea consider was appeal to the merciful judge. They would come to me going, appeal to the merciful judge, and I would listen to their side of the story, and we would negotiate and come to a meeting. So this was a pleasure. You edified me. You lifted my spirits. Like I said, I'm heading into the last year with my last child, but that has its own intimidation. It's like, I want to be a good parent from the first to the last, from beginning to end. And I'm excited to know that you're out there, and I'm looking forward to encouraging other families to take advantage of Good Counsel Careers. Thank you for being a sponsor of our conference. We hope that everyone listening, head over to CatholicHomeschoolConference.com. We'll be online virtual June 9th and 10th. Tammy will be there at the Good Counsel booth. You can meet up with her and talk to her more about it. I thank you for your time again, Tammy. God bless and goodbye.
God bless you. Goodbye.